What's going on? It's Youssef from Forever Life Dominance, and in this video you'll learn how to say no assertively without being manipulated. If you are here, then that means that you want to become the most dominant version of yourself. That's what the channel is about. So saying no assertively is something that you have to learn and master to be able to become dominant and in control of any situation. Learning how to say no assertively is not something easy to learn, but it's extremely powerful in many situations. It reveals a lot of great qualities about your personality. It conveys respect, power, and self-discipline. And that's just a few things. It can help you prevent a lot of problems and ultimately help you reach your goals much faster. Learning how to say no is an incredibly powerful skill, and it's really important because then you won't be swayed by anyone that attempts to sway you, because you will be grounded and in control of your own decision. So I'm glad that you are here and you don't have to become one of those dumbasses. So let's get started with number one. Just say no. Just say no. Don't even think about it. Once you start thinking about it, then it becomes a problem. Understand your main purposes and stay focused on your own mission and just say no. Dominant people are not beholden by anyone else, and they're not swayed by people or manipulated. They are grounded and know their mission. And if people are trying to tell them or pressure them to do something that does not support their mission, they will simply just say no. I'm okay. And it's just kind of that simple, but there's more to it. We obviously let people manipulate us because they are trying to push us to feeling guilty about not doing something, or try to convince us that if we do whatever they want, it will actually be better for us. But that's not always the case, because if you want to do something, you would have done it yourself. You wouldn't have had someone to try to convince you to do it. Like I said, it shows a lot of respect. If you want some respect to your name, you gotta be able to say no when you mean no, and saying it assertively with no hesitation, without thinking twice. If you just say no without any hesitations, nobody's going to question you. Nobody's going to try to further manipulate you to do something else, and they're going to see, wow, he really does not want to do this. He really does not want to go. He really does not want anything to do with this. He literally just shut me down. And once you are able to do that, it's really powerful. People are going to see you as a leader and not as a follower. If you're able to say no, it shows that you are able to go against everyone. You're able to stand out and reveal yourself as you're not in the crowd. You're not part of everybody else, but you will take a stand against what you believe in. The most important thing is to focus on the real mission you do. A lot of people, this happens all the time with my friends. They're trying to convince me to do something, to go out or to do whatever that they want me to do, when it's not supporting my main mission. If I have something else to do, then I will do that first, and then I will be able to do other things. And this happens all the time. For me, let's say I didn't want to go to a place and my friends are trying to get me to go, and I know I don't really want to go, and they're just pressuring me to go, and I feel like I should, because I think that it could be the right thing to do, as they are telling me that it is the right thing to do, but it's obviously not. And if I do go and I really did not want to go, that really does a lot of bad things. Because one, if I don't feel like going, and if it's not my main mission, it's not my main purpose, it's not really what I want to do at the moment, one is going to show. You're going to go and you're going to be very irritable, because that's not the main thing. It's not what you wanted to do. You're going to go, you're not going to be yourself 100%, and you're not going to be able to show your friends you 100%. And once you do that, you're actually doing them a disservice, because you are just not being you 100%. You're not able to show that good vibes, that good thoughts. You're not able to be present in the moment, because you are probably thinking about why I don't want to be here and why I should be doing something else. And once that happens, you're going to be stuck in your head. You're not going to be able to be present with your friends. You're not even going to be able to have fun. So it's important to just be able to focus on your mission and just say no. A dominant man is in control of what he wants to do and what he says he wants to do, and he's aligned and congruent with all that. If he does not want to go, he's going to say that he does not want to go, and the environment is not going to affect him whatsoever, because he's not the cause, he's not the effect, but he's actually the cause. He makes stuff happen. He tells people, let's go to this place. He's not manipulated to do something that he does not want to do. He actually tries to get people to do what he wants to do. And that's what a dominant man does. He does not follow, but he is the leader. And not every man is going to be a dominant man, and that's just a fact of life. But I want you to be that dominant mother. Most people experience difficulty saying no because they are just simply people pleasers, and they don't have a real mission in life. They don't have a goal. They don't have something that they love and in passion with. So they are easily swayed by people because that's all that matters to them, is they just want to please the person that's in front of them, and that's not going to get them anywhere. They don't want any disapproval from anyone because they just want to make everyone around them happy, which shows that you have such a weak you have such a weak personality, because you just want to make everyone around you happy and you don't care about your own happiness. But here's the thing, you don't have to make anybody happy at the expense of your own happiness. Number 2 is you just gotta become fearless. Fearless. Here's the thing, fears can easily become conditioned in us from just a single event, something that happened to you in your childhood that affected you from that point until the rest of your life. Because something bad happened when you were little. It doesn't even have to do with just your childhood, but it could be something that happened today. Maybe you got into a car accident, maybe when you just started driving, or even later on. That can have an effect for the rest of your life because you saw what happened. You saw what could happen if they're not the right things, are happening. So you take extra precautions. You are extra fearful of that thing happening again, and you're going to make sure that you do everything in your power to make sure that doesn't happen again. Because when that incident happened, you became so fearful because you never thought it could happen, and once it happened, you do not ever want it to happen again or see it happen to anyone that you know or love. But here's the thing, I want you to look forward, because the past, whatever happened to you in the past, does not dictate your future whatsoever, but it just makes you more aware. Those fears are just there to make you more aware of the things that happen, but that does not mean it's going to happen again, because all the fears in the world are prone to anyone pretty much at any time. Just because you got hit with that one thing, with that one instant that changed the way you look at something, it has nothing to do with the future, because the future is already nothing is known. And once you understand that, it's easily understandable to you're able to actually just move forward. And this is much easier said than done, but if you really just look into it and assess the things that are happening, it's kind of just stupid to just rely on that one thing that made you fearful for the rest of your life about that one instant. Maybe you're scared to talk to a girl because one time a girl rejected you really bad, and from there you don't even want to feel that feeling again. So from now on, you just don't want to talk to any girl because you are just so scared from that rejection, and fear will put you to misery because it basically diminishes any opportunity you ever had, and then you won't be able to move forward or be happy about anything because that fear is holding you prison to it, and you just won't be happy. I want you to be happy. 3. Stand up for yourself. Do not be manipulated. Learn how to stand up for yourself and say what you really want. It's really simple. Just say no when you want to say no, and say yes when you want to say yes, regardless of whatever everybody else is saying. And if they're trying to manipulate you, don't even listen. You gotta sit by yourself and really think of what you really want to do. And if you really do not want to do something they're trying to tell you to do, don't fucking think about what they're trying to convince you to do. Just say no and do whatever the hell you want to do. This does not mean to say no when you actually want to do something. It just means to say no when you want to say no. Nobody wants to be bullied or manipulated, but you have to just notice that those bad behavior and then learn how to stand up for yourself. But this is obviously much easier said than done. Standing up for yourself could be a real challenge if you're so used to letting people just step over you when you're not realizing it. But once you've learned how to make a real firm stand for yourself, you realize that it is life-changing. It was life-changing for me, because for the longest time I was easily manipulated by people around me, by my friends, by people just, they still love me, but they were just manipulating me. They're trying to get me to do something I really did not want to do, and the more I did those things, the more unhappy I was, and that was the most unhappy time I was. And once I was able to finally take a stand for myself, where I just felt like I was like, no, I'm not doing that, I don't feel like doing that, and that's not what I really want to do. That was a very life-changing for me, because from there on I was able to make more, I was able to stand for myself more. And it's not that I wasn't able to stand up for myself before, but once I took a firm stand for myself and I was like, no, that's not what I want to do, and people just started to respect me, and I was like, alright, well, okay. But then from that point on, I was much happier, and I was able to make much better decisions about myself, because I knew what I wanted, and I knew what I had to do, what I had to say, what kind of decision I had to make, what I need to say no to, and what I need to say yes to. From that point on, it was a lot easier to also notice the people who were able to stand up for themselves and those who were not, because I noticed those people who I was kind of trying to convince them and manipulate them to do something that I wanted, or I was trying to convince them to come to do something or whatever. I was easily able to notice those who were able to stand up for themselves and those who were just saying yes to everything that life threw at them because they were just trying to please everybody around them. But I also noticed those who had a bigger mission, who said no when they wanted to say no, and they said yes when they thought it was a good idea. But I really, those are completely different people, and it's so easy to notice them once I was able to actually stand up for myself. And those who just said yes to everything, I was able to actually help them because I was in that same position. And once you are able to be in that position where you are being able to stand up for yourself and are clear of your goals, you're going to be able to also help a lot of people. So it's really that important. If you're not convinced of why you should stand up for yourself, let me help you out. Obviously, respect, I already talked about this a little bit, but let me clarify it a little bit more. So people will respect you. If you're someone who is known to be able to stand up for yourself, then people will associate you with respect because you have more morals to yourself and what you want to do. They will learn that you are not someone that is intimidated by pressure or cause you to do something, or you're not going to be manipulated by some people that are trying to pressure you. And because of that, they will actually be a lot more likely to consider your point of view because you are actually assessing what you want to do and what is good and what is not. Standing up for yourself develops a character about yourself. You are more of a person that knows what they want and knows what they don't want. It gives you much better perspective about yourself and about your personality and about the environment that's around you and who wants to do what and their kind of intentions of what they want of their life. This will develop an insane leadership role and leadership quality in your personality, decision-making skills. So those are all great reasons, but how do you stand up for yourself? It's much easier for people than others, but here's some tips to help you out. Simply build up your confidence, and there's so many ways to build up your confidence. And confidence is huge because it really makes everything fall in place. And I don't think that confidence is something you can learn over a video, but it's a lifetime of learning and understanding why you lack in confidence in certain areas. And there's some parts of you where you excel in confidence, and if you're not confident in social situations, you're going to be easily swayed and easily manipulated and obviously not stand up for yourself. If people see that you own your moves and that you own your decisions, they will respect you, and therefore they're a lot less likely to try to convince you or manipulate you to do anything. When arguing, appeal to intellect first, then emotion. People will probably try to talk to you into something that maybe you do want to do, maybe you don't. Sometimes you'll try to argue back, but in that case they're just going to suppress you and even sometimes power you when you don't feel like arguing, and you will just going to give in just because you want to end the conversation. And I've been there and it works. However, there is a way to turn the argument in your favor. This is where we elaborate about points of logic, the common sense. The goal is for them to understand your view as positive and acceptable, and if you can show them that whatever your point of stand, where you stand is positive and acceptable, then they will comply with you. Put in the facts about your own situations and use appropriate language to make them understand your point of view. The second is appealing in emotion. Once you've laid down the facts, it's time to work through their mind to make them join your side. The trick here is kind of like Inception. You gotta use rhetoric that appeals to them and their empathy to make them embrace your ideas as their own. You kind of just make them feel like your ideas are actually their own and they're coming up with it. And once they think that it's their own ideas, they're not going to be against their own. Once they see that it's actually their own ideas, they're going to comply with you completely fine. Then you can actually be able to stand up for yourself and using intellect and emotional appeal just like you learn right now. It's so much more fulfilling when you can take that road and build up that confidence so you can stand up for what you believe in. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to get more videos like this where you can dominate your path and become the most dominant version of yourself. Make sure you guys like the video. I'll see you guys next video.